Oh my god, Hytale is out. I've been playing it pretty much non-stop for the last week. Unfortunately, I have to pry myself away from this game because the owner, Mr. Simon Hypixel himself, practically begged, or at least strongly insinuated, that I should make a video on how to improve the mining in Hytale. This is real, by the way. I guess I've become the designated ideas guy now, which is a title I'm taking with great responsibility, so I've spent some time thinking, and I think I've discovered exactly how Hytale can evolve into the best mining game ever. But first I need to change it to something more comfortable. There we go, much better. Subscribe if you want me to teach you how to do that, by the way. I'll tell you if I get, let's say, 30,000. Before we continue, I got my first sponsor. And not just any sponsor either. It is one of the most affordable, easiest to use, high-performance Hytale server providers out there. I'm of course talking about Pine Hosting. It's super easy to set up a Hytale server with them, and if you have any issues, they provide top-of-the-line support. These guys have a 4.9 star rating on Trustpilot. They really know their stuff, so I can rest easy knowing that my audience is in good hands. You can get servers in Europe, Australia, and America, including of course Quebec, just for the Hytale reference. You can even add mods straight from CurseForge on your server dashboard, and anycast DDoS protection ensures stable ping. This kind of top-notch service is also provided for a bunch of other games, as well as dedicated servers. And if you have another host, they'll help you migrate your server. No matter the game, you can get a 30% off on their already pretty good prices if you use, as always, code Hawkon at checkout. Use the link in the description below to help out the channel. Thank you, Pine Hosting, very cool. If there is one universal truth in this world, it's that the children yearn for the mines. And there are many reasons why mining is fun in video games. Being able to mine freely gives you agency, and the act of mining can send you into a meditative flow state. Mining can also give you an incredible sense of discovery whenever your claustrophobic tunnels intersect with massive caverns, and these environments can be mysterious and wondrous. Environmental dangers can catch you off guard and surprise you, and the enemies within them can provide a lot of challenge. And that brings us to the most important aspect, which is the way mining reinforces risk and reward. There's always a question in the back of your head: do you go back to the surface and stash away your spoils, or do you delve deeper to find even more valuable materials and risk getting yeeted by a magma toad? Hytale does this pretty well already, but it's got a long way before it's at the level of a certain game where you mine and craft, the undisputed king of mining games, which is, unarguably, Terraria. Terraria has absolutely nailed the risk and reward aspect of mining. The world is really deep, and as you go deeper, you will constantly encounter more and more danger, more difficult enemies, environmental dangers like lava, and the bane of every Terraria fan, the boulder trap. Mining unlocks progression, and all resources have tons of uses, not just for tools, weapons and gear, but also a plethora of super useful accessories that you can add to your character, like grappling hooks, which can be crafted from gems. These accessories are the perfect form of horizontal progression, where they completely change how you move and play the game depending on your loadout. I believe that mining in Hytale will eventually get to this level, and it already has a lot of things going for it. For example, with the fantastic cave generation, Hytale rewards cave exploration much more than strip mining. Similar to Terraria, Hytale lets you break any block with your pickaxe, which is a great way to save on hotbar space, but Hytale also has the shovel, which is useful for digging large amounts of dirt. Spotting ores is really fun, as you see a glint in the darkness and you instantly start to wonder what it could be. And then small details like the way you swing your pickaxe and the shake of the block as you mine it makes mining so much more satisfying. And by far the strongest point of Hytale is the underground environment. The caves look amazing, with incredible ambience and music, and the prefabs, oh my god, the prefabs, they are so good. I did not expect how much fun good prefabs could provide, but this game has really opened up a new world of possibilities, and unlike on the surface where the prefabs can quickly clutter up the world, the underground can be absolutely chock full of these things because you can't see them all at once, you discover them one after another. It's so much fun, and I hope to see way more of them, and I want more mechanics that allow for even more fun situations within them. All of this is great, but it's obviously not enough. Unfortunately, Hytale is lacking in the most important aspect, which is the risk and reward, and this should be baked into every aspect of the game, and especially mining. Mining can get a bit monotonous because of the lack of variety in tools. Currently, the only tool you need while mining is your trusty pickaxe. That's fine and all, but it would be a lot more engaging if you fleshed it out more. A varied toolset lets you approach situations differently, turning caves into problems you can solve in different ways depending on your playstyle, gear, and even just your mood. Say you come across a wide chasm. You can either build across, use your glider, or swing across with your grappling hook. Wait, actually that reminds me of that one scene in Atlantis.
It must have taken thousands of years to carve this thing.
Hey look, I made a bridge. It only took me like, what, 10 seconds?
Or perhaps you're being followed by a swarm of enemies, you could drink a speed potion or divert them using a smoke bomb or some sort of barrier, or explosives. Maybe you lost track of your friend, throw a glow stick, shoot off a flare, or blow a goat's horn. Sound cues can even be useful for deaf people as long as you add a radial sound visualizer. Or you could just use explosives. And if your path is blocked by some tough rocks, well, explosives. Alright, I get it. We gotta talk about explosives, don't we? Explosives are extremely chaotic and fun, and they have risk and reward built into them. You risk, well, exploding, but then you get the reward of destroying a lot of blocks, which can reveal new caves and valuable materials hidden beneath the surface. If you want to make mining in Hytale more fun, the first thing you should do is add more explosives. Luckily, we already have some explosives in the game, like boom shrooms. These glowing mushrooms grow in caves, and when you step on them, they explode. This is a really cool mechanic and a great way to surprise the player. They also give boom powder when broken, which you can use to craft bombs. Unfortunately, bombs can't actually break blocks, which makes them pretty boring. But the boom shrooms are a really great concept. Unfortunately, the execution falls flat. I think they have a lot of untapped potential though, and could be Hytale's way of reinventing the explosive barrel. The problem is that they don't feel impactful. There are small and large variants, but they both have these pitifully small explosions with really pathetic visuals and sound design, and the amount of damage they deal is laughable. I actually didn't notice I had taken damage the first time I stepped on one. This simply won't do. The first time you step on a small boom shroom, you should be instantly sent down to low health. Don't be afraid of killing the player. Anyone who has played Minecraft has died to a creeper, and this should be the same. Stepping on one of these should be a memorable experience. You can also animate them to show that they are dangerous, which might make the player think twice about stepping on one. The larger ones should be even more dangerous with a much larger explosion, and of course you have to add a giant version that takes up multiple blocks. These should be rare and should create massive explosions like the dynamites in Terraria. If they have a tendency to grow near ore veins, you could even use them as a quick way to get a bunch of resources. It's a perfect risk and reward feature. I would love finding sulfur ores which could be used with boom powder to craft more powerful explosives, as sulfur veins would make perfect sense to place near boom shrooms. You currently can't set off the boom shrooms with your weapons, but this is an absolute must. NPCs should never willingly step on them, so instead you have to shoot the boom shrooms with a bow while enemies are near them to set them off. That would make them a very fun strategic element to combat. You can harvest these things, but they really should not stack, as they should feel more dangerous and unstable in your inventory, so if you try to stack them, they would explode. They could also explode if you throw them on the ground, so you would have to put them in a chest if you want to give it to someone. When you add automation, you can make it so that when you put a boom shroom in a chest and then run a current through it, the chest explodes. I'm already imagining a lot of cool ways you could trick your friends with this, and I'm sure there would be hundreds of videos like that on YouTube within the first week of adding this. Speaking of videos, there was this one player who walked into air which they couldn't breathe in, and it would be cool if that was turned into an actual feature. Imagine if there were pockets of gas underground that explode when you ignite it. The gas could work kind of like Terraria liquids where they spread towards the bottom. That could get pretty chaotic if there's lava nearby. Other than that, we need more variations in explosives. We already have some bombs you can throw, but they don't even break any blocks, so they really fall flat. I know goblins throw these things, so it might get chaotic, but I really think they should destroy blocks. The sound design needs some improvement here too. Mods for explosives tend to be very popular in any sandbox game, but they usually go a bit too crazy with huge scale destructions like nukes. This is too much destruction for vanilla gameplay. What we need is more like the staples, mainly bombs with different qualities like cluster bombs, sticky bombs, bouncy bombs, and so on. Alongside throwable bombs, dynamite should exist as a placeable explosive, something slower, more deliberate, and more controlled. When crafting them, you should be able to tweak details like strength, shape, and direction, giving them a lot more use cases. When it comes to the pickaxe, the sound design needs some work here too. It's very monotonous, so it needs a random pitch shift or some sort of alternating sound, and the sound should be more gentle and satisfying. It's an activity you'll be doing a lot, and you want players to achieve that sort of flow state. We also need to add some variety in the way you mine, and signature abilities would be the perfect way to do that. You could charge it by mining, with certain blocks giving you more charge, like ores, giving you an additional incentive to mine them. Before we think about what the pickaxe signature ability should be, we need to think about what the tool ecosystem should look like. We have explosives, which is a consumable, so not really an ability. That leaves us with the pickaxe and the shovel. The shovel mechanic is very interesting because it mines everything that it hits. Mechanically, this feels very different from the pickaxe, which mines one block at a time. The shovel's purpose is to remove large amounts of dirt, while the pickaxe purpose is to remove stone and other blocks with precise control. This means that the pickaxe is quite slow, even at higher tiers, so you can destroy blocks in one hit because you are limited by your hit speed. As a result, collecting a lot of stone for your builds becomes very time consuming. There's one thing that could quickly remedy this, which would be a mining potion which makes you swing your pickaxe faster. Just making it a permanent speed increase would be quite boring though, so the speed should instead accelerate as you mine, which basically rewards mining a lot of blocks at once. The animations could also look really fun and chaotic, making the potions more visually interesting. But mining potions are just another consumable. They don't solve the underlying issue. We need an alternative to the pickaxe that specializes in collecting a lot of stone. We already have the shovel mechanic, which is really fun to use and solves the issue for dirt, so it makes perfect sense to translate this mechanic into a different tool that can also mine stone. And I think that tool should be a drill. It would be weaker than the pickaxe, but would have a much higher rate of mining and would be able to mine multiple blocks at once like the shovel. The signature ability would drastically increase the speed and the player would be forced forwards. In the context of mining, handheld drills were only really used to insert holes for explosives, so you might say that it doesn't really suit this wide-ranging, chaotic style of mining. I say that's a very Minecraft way of thinking about it, and Hytale isn't Minecraft. Hytale takes inspiration from fantasy and popular media, and in that context, drills are very much represented as these tools that let you practically swim through rock, breaking anything in your way. Think games like Reach the Core, Terraria, or anime like Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
Fight the power!
I would really like an item like the digging claws from Terraria, which could act like the drill, except it could work as sweeping hits rather than piercing. And a really late game option could be a handheld bucket wheel excavator, which could be comically huge, demolishing everything in its path. That could be a lot of fun to use, but it should probably consume fuel or something to make it at least a little bit balanced. If the drill and its signature ability is all about moving through the earth, I think that the pickaxe should be more about precise destruction. The coolest way of doing this would be giving it a sort of vein miner ability where each block you break causes a chain reaction, breaking blocks of that same type. It would have to be limited in the amount of blocks it could break, but it could still be really fun. It should make the player feel really powerful, so imagine a wind-up animation followed by 3 powerful hits in a row with good animation and sound design that really sells how strong the hits are. This ability could be used very strategically to mine ore veins as well as getting through pockets of tough rock. The pickaxe can break it all instantly, whereas the drill would have a harder time breaking through. Increasing the quality of your pickaxe could also increase how many blocks are broken from the chain reaction. The shovel also needs to be distinct from the drill, so I think it should have a signature ability that expands the hit radius into a large box in front of the player. That way it could still be useful for excavating large areas. In general, all these tools should be bad at destroying wood and planks, just so that the griefing potential is a little minimized. The ores themselves could also have special abilities. Imagine you walk through a dark cave and you spot the glint of an ore. As you walk closer, you notice some faint sparkles coming off of it. When you hit the sparkle, the block drops an ore, which is weird because you didn't break it and the ore is still in the stone. The sparkle appears again somewhere else on the block, so naturally you hit it again and another ore drops. This time the spark disappears and the ore breaks. You just found a lucky ore, and you should really have tried to hit it more times because each time you hit the sparkle you get a bonus ore, but it goes away after a certain amount of time. Mechanics like these could give us that little bit of extra variety in the game loop, making mining feel just a smidge less repetitive and much more rewarding. But what really makes mining rewarding is, well, getting rare and pretty materials of course, but more importantly getting useful materials. Ores are smelted into metal ingots, and you need a lot of this for progression as it's used to upgrade your workbenches. This is good game design, but what's even better is when we have useful items that can be crafted using the materials that aren't necessarily strict upgrades, but different tools for different situations. And this is a function that should be built into the ores, and to some degree it already is. Metals in Hytale have different properties when crafted into gear, like adamantium increases light attack damage, cobalt increases signature attack damage, and thorium gives you poison resistance. Copper and iron currently do not have any special effects. I think we can do more with this. In Hytale we have 5 magical elements and they can interact with these metals in some way. Copper could conduct lighting, iron could interact with air, thorium with earth, cobalt with water, and adamantium with fire. I'm not sure exactly what this interactivity would look like, but it should be something more than just stat changes. I'm pretty sure that is exactly what they have planned with the gems, as these clearly represent elemental magic. You have emerald for earth, topaz for lighting, sapphire for water, ruby for fire, and of course sapphire for air. Currently these gems feel pretty worthless. They're not used for much, you need a gem to create magic one, but that's about it. Magic obviously still has a long way to go, so as we get more magic features, these gems will have more uses, which will make them a lot more valuable. The sound design doesn't do much for me. The amethyst in Minecraft works a lot better. When you mine them, the sound could show the connection with the elements. Ruby can crackle, sapphire can sound icy, topaz can buzz, and the sapphire can blow. Each hit could also change in pitch to play elemental music motifs when you mine them. Top it all off with some VFX as you mine, like sparks, fire, and wind effects, and you have yourself a way more memorable experience. I would also love to see geode prefabs where you can find gem blocks that aren't used for crafting but can be used to build magical contraptions of some sort. Geodes can also drop as items. They could contain lots of different minerals and crystals which you obtain by placing the geode on a hard surface and smashing it with your pickaxe. When you're out mining, you would probably prefer to save on inventory space, so you'd keep them as geodes until you return home. Adding lottery tickets like these would make inventory management more interesting because you would have to weigh whether you should trade valuables with the chance of getting something even more valuable. That would add a bit of challenge to the mining, and I would love to talk more about how we can add even more of it, but this video is already more than 10 minutes long and Simon has 100 features to add to the next update, so I can't be keeping him any longer. However, this video was just a warm-up, and appetizer for the real treat. We've only talked about boring stuff like explosions and amazing treasure, we've still not touched on the good stuff. So I'm making a second video with some incredible ideas that I think could revolutionize mining in Hytale. I promise you that you do not want to miss this one, so if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell. Unless you're from the future, in which case you should be seeing the video on your screen already. Even if you don't see it, you should probably click on the video on the screen. You watched this video this far, so it would only make sense, you know? You didn't click it yet? It's fine. You're probably playing Hytale anyway, come to think of it. Speaking of, I'm going to go play some Hytale. Okay, ending the video now. Don't forget to watch that other video now. Bye bye!